Hey everybody. So, Royal Rumble 2025 is in the books and there was a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions, and a lot to talk about. The good thing about a four-match show is that there's also a lot less to cover. So, it's a lot easier to remember more things and anyway, this is going to be I do have more general thoughts here because I also, for the sake of time, want to talk about my thoughts on the road to WrestleMania thus far and how things have gone. So let's begin with the Women's Royal Rumble. I thought it was a pretty good showing. I enjoyed it, Personally, where this ranks out of all the Women's Royal Rumbles, it's still, maybe somewhere. It's one of the more memorable ones in my opinion. I would say somewhere in the top fives. A couple of the previous years have been, forgettable. Sad to say, but this one is one of the better ones. Still definitely not my favorite one, as my favorite one was the very first Royal Rumble. The storytelling and the rivalries and everything that took place in that first Royal Rumble, Women's Royal Rumble, was just so special. But this one does, a good job too. I will say I really enjoyed the returns. Charlotte Flair winning the Royal Rumble, it doesn't exactly. I know a lot of people are up in arms about it. Personally, for me, I'm not offended by it. I, in fact, expected it, which I think that's largely why people are upset by it. But I'm not offended by it because it's not Nia Jax, and that's who I thought was going to win. And I am not the biggest fan of Nia Jax. I'll give her credit. She has improved, but I'm just still not the biggest fan of her, and the idea of her challenging for any women's title just isn't exciting to me. And also, Charlotte Flair hasn't been in the title picture for a couple of years. So I'm not exactly mad at it. Personally, I do just kind of hope that we don't get Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley again. I don't think we need to see that match. I think we've gotten enough Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. And quite frankly, to do Charlotte and Rhea again would basically, I don't want to say destroy the storytelling that they have done back then, but it's just overkill. Like they finished their storytelling with Rhea Ripley getting the last win, even though she couldn't beat Charlotte the previous couple of times that they squared off. I think it's completely fine if they don't revisit this rivalry. You know, just let their match at WrestleMania 39 be their last, you know, if at least for another year. Because honestly, I don't think we need it. I don't think we need another one. Just my opinion. So yeah, there was a lot of good in the Women's Royal Rumble. I really enjoyed the fact that Alexa Bliss returned. A part of me was really hoping this is the little kid in me again, rooting for wrestling again, and it's really nice when I can just kind of invest for a minute and really invest in someone like Alexa Bliss, who I have to have the foresight to know that she's not going to win the Royal Rumble. But that isn't to say that she would have been a bad choice to win the Royal Rumble. Let's be honest. I mean, look at who won the men's Royal Rumble. I think Alexa Bliss coming back, returning, and winning the Royal Rumble would shake things up, and it would get people talking. And and Alexa Bliss is actually a very popular person in the WWE. Just look at the reaction she got. So I did enjoy seeing her back. It was really nice. It was refreshing. It's been a long time, and hopefully she can just pick back up where she left off. Um, Whatever that might be, whether it's, within the Uncle Howdy segment or just her doing her own thing. I look forward to seeing what she can do. And honestly, I kind of missed hearing Alexa Bliss's promos, so that's also something to look forward to. So, yeah, there was some good in it. I also really enjoyed the fact that Trish Stratus came back. That was also a really nice surprise. With Triple H's um, regime, he obviously doesn't focus much on the past. I don't expect there to be a lot of surprise returns from previous names of yesteryear. So when I see a name like Trish Stratus pop up at a Royal Rumble, it's nice. It's a little bit more meaningful in that sense. Whereas Vince, he used to trot out the legends left and right. And I don't think that's any sort of a secret. But yeah, so overall, I'm gonna go ahead and, if I were to actually rate this, I would give this match a solid B plus. I think it was really good. Um, you know, I personally would have picked someone like Alexa Bliss. Again, not mad at Charlotte Flair being the winner, but just not my first choice. So next we have the tag team of the Motor City Machine Guns versus hashtag DIY. And, the biggest thing I could think about is, the fall from grace that DIY has taken based off of this. I don't, and I'm not trying to knock on them or bash them in any kind of way. I think they're very talented, but it's hard to believe that these were Triple H guys. Back down in NXT, they were, you know, they were the spotlight. They killed each other in several matches. Following that, there was also a lot of fanfare for Johnny Gargano when he returned to WWE and debuted on the main roster, if you guys recall that. And Gargano, there was a lot of buzz when he came back. He had his own promo, and, he was having good matches, on a weekly basis, which was cool. And to see where they are now, it's like there's no buzz around the tag team division. This match was flatter than a pancake in terms of the crowd reception. I can't necessarily put that at the feet of these competitors, but I mean, there was no sizzle to the steak. If you're catching my drift here, there was just nothing, no momentum. This match did not give me anything. I didn't feel impressed. I felt underwhelmed when watching this match over. I have to give it a D. Honestly, I'm sorry if I had to rate it. It's a D. The inclusion of the Street Profits interfering at the end, surprising, but not enough for me to grade this any higher. It was just a boring match. I'm sorry. I hate to put it like that. I'm a DIY fan, and I found myself just sadly underwhelmed. Next, we have the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens match, and my God, was this a turnaround. This easily was match of the night, in my opinion, and that's saying something given that there's two Royal Rumbles and the men's Royal Rumble having a very star-studded Royal Rumble lineup, but we'll get into that later. This match was brutal. I mean, Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens killed each other in this match. I have not seen this match. I have not seen a match this brutal in quite a long time. You know, I think back to I think back to John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules 2012. I mean, that match was, you know, a lashing. That match was brutal. And this match, you know, no different, right? This match topped like any modern ladder matches within the past 10 years, in my opinion, because top to bottom, these two wanted to kill each other, and you could just see it. There were several bumps being taken. I felt like Cody took more of the bumps, and that was my opinion for most of the match until the end, where Cody Rhodes, you know, they teased a package pile driver, but then it got countered into Cody Rhodes giving an Alabama slam onto the ladder. And my goodness, I'll tell you something. Again, little kid in me, I saw this and I was worried for Kevin Owens. The man was not moving, and I thought for sure, like, you know, the man was paralyzed or something, because the way he sold that really well. And I mean, he really sold it really well. You know, you sit there and you look at Sami Zayn, his face told the whole story. You know, he looked concerned, and whether that's acting or whether that's genuine concern, I mean, it's still just unbelievable. And I honestly tend to think more that it was genuine concern rather than acting, or at least, you know, there was some part of it that was genuine concern. They really played it up well. Now, Cody Rhodes did take a while to get the championship titles from the hook, I guess. And I thought for sure that maybe this was an audible, because, you know, he took a while, and normally when things like that happen, I just, you know, I feel like maybe Sammy was supposed to intervene or Kevin was supposed to intervene, and the match was supposed to drag on just a little bit longer, but evidently that was the finish, and I think that was the right call. And I think the only reason why it took Cody as long, I played this match back, and I realized the referee was, you know, he came down, he snuck to the bottom of the ladder to kind of hold it in place for Cody. So I think maybe it was a case of Cody losing his footing, which, you know, thankfully he was safe. My biggest takeaway from this match was Cody is likely going to be heel at some point. I mean, it may not be before Mania, it may not be during Mania, but it's coming. I mean, you take a look at the way he reacted out after that match. He's just showing tendencies. They're subtle, but they're there. So that match, A+ in my opinion. Enjoyed it, really enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. And let's go ahead and get into the men's Royal Rumble. Now, the men's Royal Rumble was fun. I enjoyed it. You know, it starts out, you know, we're in for a good treat when Rey Mysterio and Penta start the match. So it was good. Some good high flying action between the two of them. One thing I've noticed about Rey Mysterio, and I noticed this in his match tonight and the past couple of Raws, maybe it's just age, maybe it's an injury, but Rey Mysterio just doesn't seem all the way there, the way he used to be. I've just kind of noticed he tends to slip up here and there, or, his moves just aren't as crisp. And, I hate to say that, but it's just something that I've kind of observed. And I feel like I saw a little bit of that in his performance tonight, even. And I mean, that's okay. The man's getting older. He's going to retire, at some point, probably in the near future. I'm not exactly, I'm not mad at it. I'm going to enjoy any time Rey Mysterio is on my TV. Chad Gable came out. I thought that was pretty cool. One of the pretty cool spots that I saw was Santos Escobar, Carmelo Hayes, Penta, and Rey Mysterio were all, nearly thrown out of the ring, but they did the skin the cat, and then they all surrounded him to attack Chad Gable. I thought that was really cool. There was a lot of cool appearances here. We saw Joe Hendry, which was to be expected if you follow the internet. I thought it was cool. This was my first showing of Joe Hendry. I had no problem with it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool to see. I think he's talented. We got Roman Reigns coming out and Braun Breaker. Let me tell you something about Braun Breaker. He delivered two of the best spears that I have ever seen. And that's saying something, because there's a lot of amazing spears out there. But Braun Breaker, he cracked the YouTuber named I Show Speed, which I'm a little out of touch. Honestly, I don't know what the deal is with Triple H, bringing in YouTubers. Like, Logan Paul is one thing, but, like, does I Show Speed really bring eyes to the product? Does KSI bring eyes to the product? Because I've seen KSI pop up at, pay-per-views. What does Speed do? Who is the Speed anyway? Is he a gamer or something? Why is he on my screen? I don't know. But anyway, he got speared to oblivion by Braun Breaker. I keep wanting to say Brock Lesnar. Braun Breaker. Then he gets tossed out. Otis catches him. And then Otis, there was some malice behind this or something. I don't know what kind of backstage heat Speed got because the spear was one thing. That's just for the highlight. But Otis just carelessly throws him over his head and onto the announce table. He just freaking lands. And I'm just thinking, whose wife did this guy sleep with for him to get tossed so freaking hard? Cracked and tossed so hard. I don't know. But regardless, I mean, hey, that spear was one to remember. And then later on in the match, we get Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker. And Roman Reigns took arguably an even harder spear, if not the hardest spear of all time. Take a shot every time I say spear. By Braun Breaker. It was just so hard. And then Roman Reigns eliminates him shortly after, but you can clearly see Roman Reigns was winded. he was winded by Braun Breaker. And I'll say this, just before I move on, because I know I've been kind of harping, but Braun Breaker has, best spear in the business is more than just a catchphrase. It is the truth. I mean, Braun Breaker has the best spear since Goldberg and Rhino. And I mean, look, there have been some good spears. Roman has a decent spear. Lashley has a good spear. But Goldberg spears and Rhino spears, or Rhino's gore, they were on a different level. And so was Braun Breaker's. And I know there's a lot of hate on Bill Goldberg, but I mean, hey, there's no denying the impact that he used to get when he would spear someone, and there's no denying the impact that Braun Breaker gets when he spears somebody. So, yeah, I'm going to just leave it at that. Moving on, we got CM Punk coming out to the ring, and we end up getting a stare down between him and Roman Reigns. No, sorry, I got it mixed up. John Cena comes out. He eliminates Finn Balor. He eliminates Braun Strowman. Then we get a stare down between him and Roman Reigns. Time moves by so quickly. And CM Punk comes down. And now there's a stare down between all three of those men. And then we get Seth Rollins coming out. And I wish at this point, when the burn it down hit, I wish that CM Punk just lost his shit again. Because it is hilarious when CM Punk just gets so angry hearing that theme song. But obviously, it wasn't going to happen here. It's just, wishful thinking on my part. Seth Rollins comes into the ring and he tackles CM Punk. Cena and Roman both lock horns and they get into it, and there's just, it turns into a brawl, basically. AJ Styles returned later on in the Royal Rumble, and, there were some things that I wish would have happened. If there's one criticism that I have of Triple H's Royal Rumble matches, the way he produces them versus the way Vince used to produce them is, Vince used to have, more of the stare downs and, intertwine the, previous rivalries and whatnot. Like, I feel like if this were Vince calling this Royal Rumble, well, first of all, this would look like a completely different Royal Rumble. But let's just say he had another Royal Rumble with this exact lineup. I feel like we would get more stare downs. Like, Cena and AJ would have a moment. Cena and Punk would have a moment. And then they would square off for a little bit. But I just feel like we didn't really get to see that. Yeah, we saw AJ attack John Cena, but it's almost like their long rivalry wasn't even, touched on. So I found that a little bit interesting. There's really only like a few stare downs here, and that's fine. That's just a minor, nitpick on my end. Nothing serious. So we get down to the wire here. Fast forwarding here a little bit. Jey Uso comes out, and I was for certain he wasn't going to win the Rumble. Sami Zayn came out at number 27, and I thought that was a good number for him, because 27 is the most commonly won number that people, come out and win from. So I thought, he was kind of the dark horse pick. He was my dark horse pick. I was personally, hoping for Punk to win. But Sammy got eliminated. At one point, we got to number 30, and at this point, I realized, because I thought for sure The Rock would have shown up at number 30 and just kind of hijacked the whole show. Logan Paul shows up, and yep, right before he showed up is right when I realized, shit, he declared for the Royal Rumble. He's gonna pop in, So I was like, well, all right. So Logan Paul comes in, he gets a lot of heat. He comes in hitting the buckshot lariat, and we saw a couple of eliminations here. CM Punk eliminated both Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, who were both trying to eliminate each other. I was very happy at that because I thought, okay, this is for sure Punk is going to win now, if not him or Cena. But then Logan fucking Paul, of all people, eliminates CM Punk, and I was pissed. Right? Because I really wanted CM Punk to win. It was on my wrestling bingo card. I thought he was going to win the Royal Rumble. But alas, that didn't happen, and we ended up getting a nice little beat down and a couple of teases. Seth Rollins gave Roman Reigns a stomp with both fucking feet. I swear to God, if Roman doesn't have a broken nose, like... And then, to top it all off, Roman took a stomp on top of the steel steps, which was, even worse. And then Punk and Seth, get into a fight, and it was just something else. That was mayhem, which was nice to see. So it looks like we can kind of guess where we're gonna, what we're gonna see come WrestleMania. So then there was the final three, which was Jey Uso, Logan Paul, and John Cena. I'll say this, right? Logan Paul, he gets a lot of heat. I don't mind Logan Paul in WWE. I just feel like he does not need to be in spots like these. Just my opinion. Cena eliminates Logan Paul. Now we're down to Jey Uso and John Cena. And I thought for sure Cena was going to win. There was just no way Jey Uso was going to win, in my opinion, right? And I know, one podcaster, Solid Monster, said, don't sleep on Jey Uso. And hey, he was right. He was right. But the reason why he gets slept on, since he poses this question, the reason why he gets slept on is because he doesn't fit, the build of a main event caliber wrestler. He just doesn't, and I hate to say that because I don't mind Jey Uso. Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. He eliminated Cena. And the crowd was happy, they were quiet at first, and I don't know if maybe it's just because they were stunned because they couldn't believe Jey Uso won. I don't know. But yeah, I don't have a problem with Jey Uso. I don't mind him. In fact, if you want him challenging Gunther for the world title, you can. I just don't see why he should have won the Royal Rumble. I don't think he needed it. It sets up for Jey Uso to win to challenge Gunther, which is very obviously the plan, but again, wouldn't have been my pick, but it's fine. I personally, like I said, just wanted CM Punk to win. I don't know. I don't think, Jey Uso is going to be a main eventer, long term. He might have this match with Gunther, and even if he wins the World Heavyweight title, I just don't see that title reign being long, and I really don't see him playing, a big role in the future. So him winning the Royal Rumble is just like, it's almost pointless in a sense. It's kind of like with Nakamura won in 2018. It was just pointless, And my other issue with him winning the Royal Rumble is this just spells the same correlations that the Royal Rumble 2017 had, where, there were all sorts of these people who had a reason to win the Royal Rumble, and you could believably take nearly anyone from the Royal Rumble that year as a credible winner. Everyone had a reason to, and then they just go with someone who nobody expected to win and nobody, quite frankly, wanted to win. And I'm not saying nobody wanted Jey Uso to win, but I just feel, and a lot of other people feel, like there were better candidates to win the Royal Rumble. And also, like, I get that Jey Uso's over, but is there anyone, before Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, was there anyone who actually wanted to see, Jey Uso versus Gunther at WrestleMania? I mean, just speaking for myself, I didn't, but that's just me. How, but that's okay. Again, just they have their story and that's fine. But overall, I'd give this match a B. I thought it was okay. Yeah. So my takeaway from this is now you can kind of gather where the road to WrestleMania is going to lead out a little bit. And now after watching tonight's Raw as well, which I'm not going to do a review just for the sake of time. One thing that kind of rings clear to me, and we can see depending on Friday Night SmackDown what happens, but I don't think The Rock is going to be at WrestleMania, which is disappointing given the teases, and even his appearance on NXT where he said The Rock is always 20 steps ahead, so just enjoy the ride. Well, I'm seated. I'm just waiting for the ride to start, but we haven't really seen anything from The Rock, this year outside of 2 appearances, and neither of which indicated anything at WrestleMania. So, him competing at WrestleMania, I don't see happening. At most, I could see him interfering in Cody's match, which is, not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, I would hate to think that they just retconned, the whole idea altogether. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it's great on one end that they don't need The Rock for WrestleMania and they're doing just fine because they have so much star power that, The Rock almost isn't necessary. But still, you put that idea in the heads of the fans, right? You tease it, you plant seeds, and you don't follow, only to not follow through. It's disappointing, right? And whether that's Roman or Cody Rhodes, whatever the case might be, I do think that you intend to deliver at some point for WrestleMania. But yeah, that's just my opinion, right? So with that being said, where do the others play a role? Well, Cena and Cody is likely to hit, given Cena's press conference. Then we have, so I could see that Cena versus a heel Homelander, Cody Rhodes. That's the common meme about Cody these days. Punk and Rollins we're definitely getting that match. Um, and I think that we're going to get Roman Reigns in the mix for certain, because just seeing all three of them just go at it, it makes the most sense. And honestly, I don't mind that. And if you do a triple threat like that, I mean, I think it'll be fun. You know, that could main event WrestleMania right there. I mean, Punk and Roman would main event WrestleMania. Now, you add Rollins to it, as much as I'm not a fan of, the character Seth Rollins, this incarnation of Seth Rollins, his name does add extra star power to it. And there's a big blood feud between all three of these men, so why not? So whether or not that, we might just get Punk and Roman even, right, with that favor still lingering, and they keep teasing it, they keep referencing it, so I do definitely think that we're going to see that come into play come WrestleMania. So then, that leaves a couple of odd men out. Where does Sammy play a role? Well, after tonight's Raw, it's a foregone conclusion. We're getting Sammy versus Kevin. And that's fine, because, they've had their matches, but they've never had a singles match at WrestleMania. So I'm cool with that. Then the question has to be asked, where does Drew McIntyre play a role? Well, I feel like, if anything, we should have had a triple threat with him, Punk, and Rollins, and Roman could wrestle The Rock. But if we're not going to do that, and Roman's going to be involved with Seth and Punk, well, you can have him inserted in a match, in a program, maybe with AJ Styles. That would be a cool match to see. Given that AJ's back, I just think that would be worth it to see. Or you can have another triple threat where you get Sheamus, Braun Breaker, and Drew McIntyre involved. So you kind of replace Gunther, you put in Braun Breaker, and you get an intercontinental triple threat match. That'd be kind of cool. Really, Drew McIntyre fits anywhere. I hate to see him be the odd man out, given the kind of player that he's been. But I just don't know what big name you put him in with. Do you put him in with John Cena? There's a match. Do you put him in with Sami Zayn? Well, Sami Zayn already has a program. So who do you put him in with? Jey Uso isn't, sharing a world title match with Drew McIntyre. We're getting a straight singles match. So, yeah, I don't know what the plan is for Drew McIntyre, but I'm sure he's gonna get figured into something good. I'm pretty sure. Then we move over to the women's division. So, Rhea Ripley, we're likely going to get Charlotte Flair after tonight's Raw. I know that they're going to do some teases, and this is one thing I love about Triple H's booking, is that he doesn't just, it's not linear. He has everybody do promos with everybody, so we can get a taste of what to expect, especially as we're closer to WrestleMania. So, it's harder to predict what's going on. So I think Charlotte likely goes at it with Rhea Ripley. Tiffany Stratton, I could see her working a program with Nia Jax. It's all just what we see here. But overall, I'm excited for the road to WrestleMania. Ah, I got tongue tied there. I'm excited for the road to WrestleMania. I look forward to seeing what they do. Hopefully, The Rock gets involved. I would love to see. I'm already very happy with who's going to be involved in WrestleMania as it is, but The Rock being in there would just be an added plus, and I would personally would just enjoy it. You know, I'd love to see The Rock versus Cody, but something tells me they're going to hold off on that until maybe SummerSlam or maybe even next year's Mania. But again, we'll see. All right, that's going to wrap up this review and my thoughts on the current state of the road to WrestleMania. You guys have a great day. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and have a good night.